Okay, I hadn't actually been intending to make this, but a comment that someone has just left on one of my videos has just reminded me of something that I do have strong views on, and that is the situation with guns in the United States. Now, actually, this video was not one of the videos about guns or gun control or anything like that. It was a video about the Sun newspaper and the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean. But anyway, this guy left a comment there. He called me politically correct. He said, minority whites, in fact, I'll quote this exactly just so you can see the context. This is from Confrontational Realist. There is no migrant tragedy. There is only another failed non-white invasion. Dumb whites like you are becoming a hated minority and you are politically correct. You're just so stupid and indoctrinated you need to justify being a cuck. Presumably means caucus. I guess the guy's trying to offend me. Anyway, I'm not offended, but I'm just bemused that there are people in this world who have such a extreme mentality. Um, so I've checked out his channel just to see what the context of this is and to try and understand where this sort of mentality is coming from. And then I see that he is an NRA supporter, he hates the politically correct, and he wants to kill lefties and so on. Well, this is interesting because anyone who's followed my channel for a while will know that I just speak my mind on a wide range of issues. If someone wants to interpret me as being left wing, that's fine, I don't care. If they want to interpret me as being right wing, again, I don't really care. I see myself as a centrist. I'm a centrist, okay? That's it. Yes, I have views that can be seen on the left and views that can be seen on the right. But when I come across someone like this, it makes me grateful that I'm not of that sort of mentality, but also wary that in the US particularly there are gun supporters who really do have this sort of extreme thinking, um, who are explicitly racist in their outlook. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I've made videos on the gun issue before, and I've had debates with some of my subscribers. And the thing is, I don't want to have a long video about the issue of guns because there's a lot of back and forth on that. But I really want to reach out to gun owners and people who don't like the idea of gun control, but who are reasonable enough to listen to the other side of the argument and who are reasonable enough to accept that there are extremists in this debate. There are. Um, if you support guns and if you support gun ownership and you think that gun control is a terrible thing, I would be prepared to hear your argument. It's a strong chance I won't agree with it because I do have a conviction that gun control is a pragmatic thing. One of my subscribers mentioned that gun control, the controversy is with the notion of control. And I do understand that being problematic because it sends out the wrong message that it's about the nanny state, or even more than that. Um, I don't want to make this video so much to talk about the rights and wrongs of gun control. I want to really bring people's attention to just the sort of characters that do personify a large contingent of gun advocates. Let's not escape from the fact they do. Um, these sort of people, the sort of attitudes and mentality they have, they would be treated basically as terrorists in Europe because of the sort of threats that they constantly throw out, the sort of insurrectionist mentality. I mean, basically, I don't really see their rhetoric as being much different from terrorists. I really don't. And I still find it very difficult to understand how they're so accepted in the United States. It's not that everyone accepts them. Gun control advocates and a lot of reasonable, normal Americans concede that they're fanatics and want nothing to do with them. And I suspect the majority of gun owners do not behave like this. Um, I don't know how to make it more clear. I really, really don't have a problem with individuals owning guns, but I make no apologies for calling it as I see it with gun fanatics. Now, what am I talking about when I talk about gun fanatics? I'm talking, for example, about the open carry crowd. These are people, mostly men, some women, mostly men, mostly white guys, who basically go around their neighborhood, usually small town America, um, usually in so-called red states, and literally want to brandish their loaded weapons. These are not even empty weapons; they're loaded weapons. Now, I cannot comprehend how anyone could think that is in any way normal behavior or acceptable behavior in any civil society. I mean, for one thing, there's a pragmatic argument in it. Half the time, these people they're not responsible gun owners. So let's just make that clear. They're not responsible gun owners. These people are fanatics who have a siege mentality. They believe the government is out to get them. They believe that the rest of America is out to get them. And from my perspective, they really do have a siege mentality. Now, I've had a lot of back and forth debates with gun advocates, and um, what I've noticed is that there are a lot of gun advocates who actually agree with some of the basic premises of gun control. And it's a curious thing because they say that they hate gun control, but when I put it to them, well, wait a second, are you against background checks? They say, no, no, I've no problem with background checks. I say, would you like to see fewer gun deaths in America? They say, of course I would. So actually, there isn't that much difference in the fundamental opinions of responsible gun owners and gun control advocates. It's just that there is a perceived difference. But if the question is, do I have a problem with violent bullies who want to impose their way on the rest of America? Hell yes. Hell yes, I have a problem with them. And I do think they're cards. Why? Because they hide behind their weapons. Real men don't need to do that shit. I mean, really, going around a neighborhood and thinking you're a big man for throwing, sort of brandishing a loaded weapon, what the hell? What the hell? And I think it is blatantly obvious that if a black guy was doing that in an inner city area, everyone would think, oh yeah, he's a gang member, and he would be arrested or beaten up in police custody. You know, I'm not scaremongering, I'm not shit stirring. I think we all know that's the truth. Um, so I'm fed up with these people, and I'm fed up with their insurrectionist, conspiracy theory, um, nonsense. I'm sick of them. And if I was in the United States, if I was an American citizen, I would be taking an active line against this. But some people might say, well, why are you interested? Well, quite often they do bring themselves into arguments that are outside the US. Now, this video the guy commented on had nothing to do with the gun issue. So he brought himself into that, and this is my response. Um, my response to these people is, if you want to have an adult debate, I'm prepared to have that. We'll probably still disagree, but at least it will be a civil adult debate. But if you're just going to come out and threaten people, and most of you are cards, you wouldn't go through with it, but I believe some of you are psychopaths and you would, um, then you know you're going to come across as outright fanatics. And this does seem to be a unique American problem. I'm not saying the United States is the only country that has loose gun laws, but this does seem to be something. Nowhere else in the world can I think of you have a situation whereby people can openly carry loaded weapons into a supermarket or a coffee shop or past a primary school and basically get away with it because part of the Constitution supposedly allows them to do it. And I think that's a very vague area, incidentally. I really don't think the founding fathers had that in mind when they spoke about a well-regulated militia. I'm sure they did not have a notion whereby guys with a siege mentality could go into a public area and, in their view, carry any sort of weapon they want. So, in conclusion, you may disagree with me on the issue of gun control, and if you're prepared to have an adult debate about that, fair enough. But in terms of thugs who want to terrorize fellow American citizens, who want to, I mean, I've no respect at all for the open carry crowd. Why should they have any respect? You know, they demand their Second Amendment rights, but they have no respect for the First Amendment, which is the right for other Americans for example, gun control advocates to have their opinion. They want to violently shut them down. And if you don't believe me, check out a few of their videos, check out some of the channels, and really look at the mentality behind some of these people. Because frankly, it is scary. It is unsettling. And I really wouldn't blame law enforcement for keeping an eye on these people because any one of them could be a spree shooter. That's not an exaggeration. Look at all the spree shooting examples in recent years. Almost all of them have been perpetuated by people who have had an obsession with guns and who have hated gun control advocates. That's not scaremongering, it's a simple fact. Anyway, rant over.